Guess who's back? Yep, the Audi Q3. Audi's mid-sized SUV has had a bit of a glow up for 2025. It's much better looking, both inside and out. It has way better tech, and it's arguably a lot better value for money. You know, if you've got a spare 45 grand floating about. Let's take a look. If you're not familiar with Audi's SUV names, don't worry. The Q3 is the baby of the family, sitting below the larger Q5 and gigantic Q7. It goes head-to-head with the BMW X1 and Mercedes GLA, and for 2025, arguably looks better than both its rivals. Let me talk you through the exterior changes. So, this grille is slightly higher up than it was before and definitely wider. Then you have these black sections either side, which makes it all look a bit meaner, particularly with these narrow daytime running lights, which have customizable patterns. Underneath, you've got your main beam, and then smack bang in the center is this nice large Audi badge, which has sensors underneath it, and the forward-facing camera is just below. The new Q3 is very slightly longer than before, by around 1.5 inches, mostly due to the longer bonnet. Despite this, Audi claims a reduced drag coefficient of 0.30, which should help the new Q3 use less fuel. There are new wheel designs, 18 inches on the sport trim and 19 inches on the S-Line, rising to a 20-inch option with self-levelling centre caps. The door handles are conventional and very easy to use, pull to open and touch to lock, and you get choice of either a coupe back end or an SUV. It's worth mentioning the paint too. There are 11 colours to choose from, including 2 new ones, Madeira Brown and this one, Sage. This is the SUV, in case you hadn't noticed, and it's inevitably going to be the most popular Q3 in the UK. It's extremely practical. And before we have a look at the boot, check out the rear, because it has this rather lovely light strip that spans the width of the car and doubles up as cascading indicators. Now, Rory doesn't like this, but I really like this illuminated Audi badge. It's very fun. Then you have the optional OLED rear lights, which are fully customizable, and you can access that in the touch screen. Completely pointless, but very pretty. Should we have a look at the boot? All previous Q3s had 535 litres of boot space if you didn't go for the advanced speaker system, because that took up space by putting an extra speaker underneath the floor. All Q3s now have that advanced speaker system, so they have 488 litres of boot space because they have the speaker under the floor. Makes sense? Also, one thing to mention is if you get the plug-in hybrid model, the boot space is 375 litres. The boot itself has a height-adjustable floor, allowing you to maximise underfloor boot space. There are little areas left and right, handy for keeping bits and bobs. There are hooks to stop your shopping bags from sloshing all over the place. The seats have a 40-20-40 split, so you can drop the left, middle or right seats individually or all at once, as you please. But you can't fold them down from the boot. You have to fold them down from the sides of the seats themselves. One cool thing is that you can increase or decrease the boot space by moving the back seats backwards or forwards. So if you pull this handle here and slide the seats forward, you can increase your boot space from 488 litres to 575. You won't have an awful lot of legroom if you do that though, but still, it's a nice touch. You can recline the seats by pulling on a toggle a little bit. And you've got plenty of headroom. If you're sitting in the middle, it's a rather large transmission tunnel, so that might get in your way, but you do have 2 rapid USB ports and separate temperature controls down here, which I'm sure the kids will really enjoy. I'm not a massive fan of this scratchy plastic, nor am I a fan of this netted seat pocket. Not only does it look a bit naff, but also you can't hide any valuables. Shame that. The big news at the front of the cabin is the steering wheel, or rather what's behind it. Remember, on the old version you had the drive selector on the centre console. Well, now it's back here. So you push it up to go into reverse and down to drive and in to park. The indicator is on the left hand side. It's a bit of an odd shape, but you do get used to it. Then the wiper selector is a wheel, which is also a bit odd. The rest of it is pretty conventional and actually really rather pleasant. There's soft touch microfiber on the dashboard and a choice of either aluminium or wood on the dashboard trim with ambient lighting throughout. 2 seat choices are available, one more sporty than the other, and the front seats include Isofix, so you can carry your baby up front if you prefer. What about practicality? Well, moving the drive console onto the steering wheel means that you get a lot more space here to play with, in theory. So you have 2 cup holders, and in here you have a wireless phone charging tray, which is cooled, which means it blows cold air onto your phone. And if your phone is anything like mine and splits its dummy on a hot day, you'll know how useful that is. Then you have 2 USB ports and a rather large storage area and good sized door bins. Obviously there's a giant screen here, but we'll talk about tech in just a moment, because first of all, I want to go for a drive. Okay, the Audi Q3. So there are a few different engine options: petrol, diesel and plug-in hybrid options. This is the 2-litre petrol with 265 horsepower, and it's really rather nice. Feels very quick. Speed demons will be pleased to hear this will do a 0 to 62 in 5.7 seconds. About as quick as an entry-level Porsche Boxster if you're interested. I wouldn't call it a sports car, but it's very nippy and should satisfy your need for speed. It's very nice to drive, as you'd expect from an Audi. All feels very smooth and the suspension is comfortable, feels very plush. Driving position is brilliant. Perfect view out the front. View at the back is all right. It's not the largest screen in the world and the headrests do take up a bit of space, but I can work with that. One thing I would have liked is a blind spot camera. So on quite a lot of these new fancy cars, when you do the indicator, you'll get a video screen pop up on your driver's screen showing you your blind spot, but it's not on here. One thing that is very cool, on the stalk below the indicator, there is a button, and if you press that, the car will self-drive. So it will accelerate, it will brake, it will maneuver. It works particularly well on the motorway, and I think that is a bit of a game changer. As for economy, well, that depends on which version you pick. Audi claims this, the most powerful 2-litre petrol, will get you 32 miles per gallon. If you want a bit more efficiency, you might want to consider the plug-in hybrid version. It's a little slower than the top model, expect 0 to 62 in 6.8 instead of 5.7 seconds, but it delivers a claimed 148 miles per gallon, as long as you keep the battery topped up. And, usefully, there's virtually no difference in price for the privilege of the plug-in hybrid technology. Speaking of tech, we've got a lot going on here. This giant screen is divided into a 12-inch driver screen and a 13-inch infotainment screen. You get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but they've updated the back end, which makes it all much cooler and slicker to use. You've even got the App Store, which is quite fun. Annoyingly, we don't have any physical buttons for temperature control or aircon. However, they are at least always on the bottom of the screen. But if you want to change any other settings like airflow, then it will open up a separate screen, which will get rid of your sat-nav. Let me show you the reverse parking camera, because this is pretty cool. You get a bird's eye view of the car in 3D, and then you can look around the car in 3D too, which is quite fun. I mean, no one's got time for it, especially if someone's beeping at you in some supermarket car park, but still, it's quite a fun touch. So, how would we sum up the Audi Q3? Well, I'm pleasantly surprised. I think it's a very handsome looking car. I think you'd feel pretty cool cruising around in this. And on the whole, the interior is really very nice. I mean, it's not cheap, but it is an Audi, so you get what you pay for. So yeah, tick. All in all, the new Q3 is an improvement on the previous model. Sharper, more feature-packed and more upscale than before. If you're looking for a solid family car with a premium badge on the front, look no further than this.